your voice is so powerful. I needed to, a little pick me up. I'm sorry for kind of using you, but I needed to pick me up, and I knew that you were the person that could do it.
Man, I don't know how good I'll be at picking anybody up today. I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm disgusted, I'm ashamed to be a part of this country. It's just a very, very hard time. I just finished the TMZ interview. MzShyneka just got to see me just spaz on TV. I'm just filled with hurt and grief, and I know y'all feel the same way. I really know y'all do, man. And I just want to say, it is time to get angry and do something. It is time to prevent these abusers and these police that abuse the law. I mean, in Atlanta, man, we have a police force that's subtly different from some I've seen around this country. I have survived more encounters with police here. There's a different type. Nothing is perfect, but I just want to first salute some of the officers that we have on ground here, because I've seen many with video on World Star dealing with Atlanta police officers, and they have not murdered. I just saw Atlanta police officers drag a woman, calling them out of their names racially off a plane in Atlanta, and she survived the encounter. She wasn't murdered. I've seen black police officers here arrest wild drunk dudes outside the club. They weren't murdered. They survived it. You might have called a charge you didn't like, but around this country, 15 minutes, 15 miles outside Atlanta, I'm afraid I will be murdered. And I'm tired of living in an environment where this city is the only place in this country I feel safe as a black person. People wonder why people love Atlanta so much. Why you come? You steal, you steal. But we not running around worried that we're going to be murdered in the streets. So, for people who live in Atlanta, we owe the rest of the country something. We owe them our outrage. And we don't have to burn our city down. But what we can do is go down to your banks tomorrow. You can go to your bank tomorrow and you can say, until you as a corporation start to speak on our behalf, I want all my money. Right. And I'm taking all my money to Citizens Trust. And I would deal with the inconvenience of an ATM charge. In fact, we can sit down with Citizens Trust and we can tell them, like some of the other smaller banks, we're going to get you to waive your ATM charges. If we move this amount of money to your bank, then what we're going to do is to start to divert money away from the system. And this works. Apartheid ended in South Africa because students in America said, we're not flying Delta anymore. We're not drinking Coca-Cola anymore. We're not supporting any corporation that supports the apartheid and the enslavement of people who look like us. And I'm just saying, once again, right now, and I ain't saying march, whole hand speech. I'm saying take your money out of this dog's hands, out of their paws. Take your money. When it's time to vote for prosecutors and judges in Atlanta, Georgia, make sure they come before you and talk, or make sure you run your own candidates. It's time to get these dogs out of office that care nothing for you. It's time to get these people nationally. If a presidential candidate is not going to give you something, you stay at home. You stay at home. Because ain't nothing changed for black people anyway. You stay at home. I was talking to the elderly wife of one of the greatest civil rights leaders to ever have come out of Alabama and to have co-ran many marches. Co-organized many marches with Dr. King. Reverend James Orangewood, I was talking to her, and she said when people ask her about the recession and how bad it was, she says, what recession? Right. Because black people, you always been so close to the bottom, you know what the dirt look, taste, and smell like. Atlanta is one of the 3 to 5th richest cities in this country with one of the biggest wealth disparities. So black people, take your money. Stop taking your money to Buckhead for a month. Don't you shop north of Greenbrier for a month. And see what happens then. If you're really tired of it, vote the entire school board out. All of those dogs. Get them out. Every single one of them. How have they rewarded you? You got school system named for black emancipators and educators. They not even getting children out that are reading and writing on a company function. So get mad about everything, because the same people that control your police, control your school boards, control your mayor's office, your city council office, and this city will respond to you. If you wake up the political establishment in this city, they will nationally go to other cities and say, hey man, those Negroes in Atlanta who got it pretty good, they upset. Right. And if they upset, it's a problem nationally. If you stop spending money in Atlanta nationally, it becomes a problem. If all the black athletes in Atlanta don't show up for work on the same day, that's a problem for that stadium that's getting built. If Dwight Howard says, I won't play a game for the Hawks until nationally the NBA says something against this. Now, what are we prepared to do? Are you going to take $100 out of your account? You ain't even got to take all your money out. We need 1 million people in Atlanta to take $100 out of their existing account. Put $100 into a Citizens Trust account. Let $100 million move into that. Take that $100 million and promise $15,000 to $18,000 loans for black businesses or small homes. Black people, you want to know what you need to do post this? You need to move into the Bluff. You need to move to the West Side. You need to invite new political candidates to run on your behalf. You need to make sure that you have more police chiefs like George Turner and less like these dogs nationally that don't care anything about you. You need to make sure you have mayors that are accountable to you like you have the last 40 years. You need to make sure you got more maintenance, more Casims, more Andys. And if you don't do that and the worst shit happen, it's your fault. You know, David Banner said that he spoke on the Brock Newman show a few weeks ago, my brother, man. That brother said you got two choices. You can attack them through violence or you can attack them through money. Now, everybody's not afraid to kill each other, but we seem to be afraid to kill a clear and open enemy. So if you ain't gonna take them M16s, them Kalishnikovs, and all this other stuff that you rap about, killing each other with it, if you're not gonna take them to the streets, then at least to my rappers and my entertainers, help these people direct their money in a way. If you're gonna buy a Wingstop, ask if Rick Ross on it first. If you're gonna go to Chick-fil-A, just go to the one in Greenbrier on Camp Creek. But don't allow $1 of your money to leave your community again and to these dogs that ask for your vote, to these dogs that ask for your money, and to these dogs come begging for you to get back into their economic system. Don't you spend $1. If you're gonna buy some hair, buy it out of a trunk from a black person. But don't you spend $1 with a dog who don't speak up to you, don't speak up for you. You know what I loved about Baton Rouge? That brother died, and that store owner said that was my friend. If the person who owns your corner store doesn't treat you like that, shut them down. And I don't mean standing in front of a cleaners at Greenbrier talking about don't go to this one. I mean standing in front of that cleaners at Greenbrier, pointing to the black one and say we only go to that one. We only shop with ourselves. We only deal with ourselves. Until you do that, you are nothing but a bastard child of this country, and you will be treated as such. You love watching Game of Thrones. Oh, it's such a good... Oh, Khaleesi. Oh, Khaleesi. She couldn't free them slaves until they got tired of being slaves. Harriet Tubman said, I have freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more had they only known they were slaves. And wasn't nobody having no chain on, getting beat, didn't know they were slaves. The people who got a little more food knew they were slaves. Didn't know they were slaves. The people who could wear some fancier clothes. And see, that wasn't just Uncle Tom's. We were intelligent people doing slavery. So we had already built the secondary economy for ourselves. We had already agreed, well, okay, we'll be number 2. Every master ain't such a bad master. We'll be number 2. But what I'm telling you, we don't have to be number 2 no more. We graduate more college women, more college educated women with degrees are black. We don't have to be number 2 anymore. But you don't have to act like you're number 2 either. You don't have to beg anybody for what God gave you. You were free when you were born. My advice to black people is do whatever it takes to survive a police encounter. Don't give them a reason to kill you. But should you have to fight for your life, it is certainly better to have to look at a jury than your mother look at a pallbearer.
Right. We know that you were on the campaign trail with Bernie Sanders. And man, I really wish that he was still in the running.
I really wish I would have been allowed to talk about him when I was up here doing Ricky Smiley show. But I was not.
What?
We know this is radio. We're not going to make no plays and no contentions. This can get cut. This cannot make it.
Okay.
The reason you guys didn't hear me say Bernie Sanders is because one of the more powerful people at this station, God bless him, I love him, he's a good brother, but he works for a corporation. That corporation didn't see fit for me to talk about Bernie Sanders. He sat in this whole interview and made sure that I not speak about Bernie Sanders. Now that Bernie Sanders is what people say in effect out of the race, now it's cool to talk about Bernie Sanders. I want to admonish black people about that too. Stop picking what these people tell you the safest choice. I was in a meeting last night at the request of DeKalb County's new CEO, who will be his new CEO, Michael Thurman. I was to decide the Democratic platform If you read the AJC today, they talked about what I brought up. What I brought up was black men. What I brought up was police. You know, what I brought up was this BS drug laws. What I brought up is what affects our people at base level. But, you know, a lot of people supported Hillary in that. But I'm going to just tell you right now, you don't have to keep taking second best. You don't got to keep being a political party side woman, where they come and creep in your churches and do the dance. You know how men do with their side women. Things they never do with their wife. That hot sauce ain't coming out when they're in Buckhead doing those lunches. Hot sauce come out when it's down on Camden Road trying to make you feel cute. That ain't me talking against nobody, just saying your vote deserves something.
Right.
Don't you give anybody anything. You know, you might hear an old country lady tell her daughter or her granddaughter, don't you come back here after you dating no man just with no wet panties, no dry pockets. MzShyneka shaking her head. She's heard that before. Her auntie said that to her.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell y'all, don't keep voting for these chumps, and all you get out of it is a picture opportunity, or a dab, or the ability to say, hey man, Donald Trump liked black folks too. I'm saying whoever you vote for, demand something. And if you don't get it, stay home. Stay home, because your life ain't gonna get no worse than it already is.
Right.
And it can't get nothing but better once you decide to. You know, in terms of long term, what you need to do, you need to learn how to grow some food. You need to learn how to fish. You need to learn how to fight. You need to learn how to shoot. You need to learn how to do something that gets you from in front of a TV. That's what you need to learn how to do. You need to do something where you know if worst came to worst, I could take care of myself. I could fish. I could cook my own greens. You know. But what you can't do is keep depending on a system you say hates you to do right by you. That's like a woman who getting beat on, talking about a man, saying he'll see he's hurting me eventually. A lot of those women just end up dead.
Right. So do you have any political aspirations?
My political aspiration is to smoke marijuana, get strip clubs in Atlanta open till 5 o'clock in the morning, get a new school board in the city of Atlanta, and make sure that our next mayor is going to be as great as dynamic as all our other mayors have been in the name of the worker class in this city.
Amen. Well, thank you so much, Killer Mike. I mean, I don't even have to really ask you any questions. You're going to say exactly what hits everybody's heart, mind, and spirit every time you open up your mouth. And I want to thank you once again for coming through. Like, I even called your wife. I'm like,
yeah, that's how you got me down.
Can you please? Hey, you know, I know how to work now.
Shout out to Shay Biggins.
Yes, thank you, Miss Shay Big. I definitely appreciate you. And anything else you want to?
No, man, I just want to say I'm not playing. Usher and I did. We went. We got people to get bank accounts, not just black people either.
Right.
People in this community. I want to congratulate. Let me say this before I go. Every step of our step for rights, this global fight that we fight, because every country I go to, blacks on the bottom. We've had allies that didn't look like us. We've had allies that were of Spanish countries. We have allies that were, and I mean Spain. We've had allies of England. We've had allies everywhere. We have allies. When I went, and me and Usher and Crit and all those other brothers went in February and had people put their money in a black bank, people who run businesses that black people frequent also open business. There were Asian people there. There were white people there. So what I want to encourage people to do, move $100 tomorrow or any day after into Citizens Trust. Let's move that money you would usually spend on a pair of Jordans. And after that, next plans are going to roll out. Next plans are going to look like home mortgages. Next plans are going to look at like small business loans, or we're going to find somewhere else to go. But what we're not going to do is stay passive and placid in this moment. We're going to do what we know is right, and that is to fight this system by what it understands best, economics.
That's right. I'm going to pledge to do that on Monday.
Absolutely.
All
Make sure you at me when you put it up on IG.
I sure will.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Killer Mike.
Love and respect all.
All right.